Every year, Unity churches all over the world come together to pray and to lift up the world. As in the past, our spiritual community will be coming together and participating in the World Day of Prayer 24-hour prayer vigil, both in the sanctuary and in the safety of your home on September 9 and 10. So mark your calendars. To submit the names of those that you would like to hold in prayer, go to the website blog, where you will find the details and a link on how to submit the names. This is an opportunity for us to shift the pandemic and racism from fear to faith. The world needs our light and our prayers. So please join us.
Along the way, I'll get there, I pray. From whence I've come, since I've begun, I've got some things to say. You know I love you, dear, and let one thing be clear. Though I may be miles away, I'll always hold you near. Weather on this holy day, on this holy day, let's give thanks and praise that we're together, whatever weather, on this holy day. To thine own be true, and that means me and you. I've got my druthers, we've got each other, and I thank the Lord we do. On this holy day, let's give thanks and give a little praise that we're together, whatever weather, on this holy day. On this day, give thanks and give praise that we're together, weather, on this holy, holy day. On this day, let's give thanks and pray we're together, whatever weather, on this holy day.
morning, and we're glad to be back with you again. We have much to be grateful these days, especially air conditioning and the sense of community that we are still able to hold together, even though we have not seen each other face to face for quite some time.
I would say, and I'm sure you agree with me, that prayer is a big connective tissue, that it's just holding us together through these times. And our community, our church, our movement, it's really based on prayer. And this particular church, we have a big prayer unit, different teams like the prayer chaplains, the sacred prayer circle, the folks that pray over the prayer request, extended care, friends indeed. And I believe that it's probably close to 100 people that are just holding the highest for ourselves, for our community, and for the world. So I'm so grateful for that, that beyond the physical walls, there's a stronger energy that it's just saying yes to life and to unfolding good. So why don't we maybe start off today's service by having Mimi give us a beautiful prayer, our pastoral care minister, and are you ready?
I'm ready, and I think if we will join with Mimi in prayer, we'll begin to feel our larger community.
As difficult as the pandemic may be, to accept as part of God's good, we can come together in prayer and find peace. So let us pray holding these words as if they're your own. We settle into our open hearts, our spiritual home, the place we return to again and again to experience peace and tranquility. From our open hearts, we surrender to the flow of life, relaxing into a natural rhythm, trusting we are always being led to honor our truest nature. So we set the intention to graciously accept all that cannot be changed, knowing there are blessings in every circumstance and every challenge. When we embrace all that is and make everything all right, we feel peace, non-resistance, and the freedom to experience joy. We hold these truths for every name in this prayer box. May each person allow God's wisdom and grace to open their hearts, quicken their faith, and manifest their good. Serene and relaxed, we now go forward in the happiness that comes from acceptance of all things. And so we let it be. Amen.
Let's begin by relaxing the body, letting the body become comfortable in the way you're sitting. Allow the spine to be as erect as is comfortable for you. And let us pay attention to our breath as we move inward. So we'll feel the breath when it comes in And we'll feel the breath as it goes out. We're letting the breath be deeper. Letting the breath be slower. We're tapping into the heart. Filling that place in the center of our chest where love and acceptance resides. And knowing that we are not alone, but surrounded by the one presence. Let us be aware that we're aware of our breathing. Be conscious of being conscious. Let us also be aware that the many functionings of the body are happening without our conscious awareness. Like many other things we do during the day, they're on automatic. And now let us feel, sense, there is a presence, a wisdom underneath all of this that is making it all happen. Both that which is subconscious and that which is conscious. An intelligence, the one that has created the universe. Let us feel into that. Perhaps we can do that by expanding our sense of consciousness, our conscious, to the limits of distance as we perceive them. And following that by feeling into that distance. And asking ourselves, what are the limits of this moment? And let that mystery and wonder, that expansiveness, let it tell us something, if nothing more than the grandeur of it all. Let us do so in silence. I would like to talk to you today about the nature of mind. Mind is what Charles Fillmore used to call God, but also what we have within ourselves. It's essentially the reflection of God that is in us that we use to make decisions, to live our lives, etc. And I'd basically like to break it down into three parts. So if you consider the mind as a giant circle, let's say there's a giant circle of whatever mind is. At the top third of this circle, you could say you have the conscious mind. This conscious mind is what we think and how we relate to the world. The words come out of the conscious mind mostly, and this is how we organize our thoughts. Sometimes if you're doing a math problem, we're talking largely here of the conscious mind. When we recognize someone and we know we recognize them, that's the conscious mind. There is a level underneath that, which I will call the subconscious mind, meaning under not visible. We don't know what we're thinking down here. We don't know what's going on in the subconscious mind exactly, not all the time. It was the great discovery that Freud and Jung did in the early part of the 20th century and in the 19th century. This was the beginning of us waking up in the West, that there's more going on to us than is obvious here in the conscious mind. That our subconscious mind, which is doing a whole lot of what's going on, is doing it out of sight. We don't know what's happening. We're just doing it. Just happens all the time. One of the examples, one of the more pleasant examples of the subconscious mind working is that you can be driving your car without really paying attention to it. You could end up in a far off city having just gotten there, but you were not really paying attention all that much. But the subconscious mind knows how to drive the car, basically, keeps you in your lane, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of nice. Once it's been conditioned, it does good things for you. The problem with the subconscious mind is when it's conditioned to do the wrong thing, it also does that for you automatically. So the trick is to get your subconscious mind programmed in the right direction. Beneath the subconscious mind is what in Unity is called the superconscious mind. This superconscious mind is the mind that is connected with the divine, that is connected with the universe, that knows, that it actually has access to information that neither the conscious nor subconscious mind does. This is the realm of ideas, where the power and the grace of the divine is both ours and not ours at the same time. You might say it's also the realm of the ideas, as in Plato. This is where the thought process or the creative process that manifests out into particular things happens. It's here. This is the energetic source. It's the ground of everything, but it is not always in access. We don't always have access to it. This is the biggest problem with the superconscious mind for us, is that while it might have all the information, know where we should go, all that sort of stuff, we seem to be separated from it. So what we try to do in Unity is get ourselves to be in contact with this superconscious mind, that the conscious mind now is actually in process with using the superconscious energy and wisdom, and is also in alignment with it. So we're not off being headstrong, and we also know how to not only be in alignment with it, but draw upon it to bring us divine ideas, creative ideas, possibilities, and the energy to create those ideas. So the real magic of life is being able to access this superconscious mind. All that sounds pretty easy, except there's this subconscious mind between the two, between the conscious mind and the superconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the blockage. Now, it doesn't have to stay that way. Part of the work that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore did in creating an understanding of how to access the superconscious mind was they had their formula for dealing with the subconscious mind. So this idea of getting to the superconscious mind was worked on by them, and their two favorite ways of doing it were with affirmations and denials, to affirm the truth and to deny the false. And so essentially they would work on the mind by saying a denial. So the denial could be something as simple as X has no power over me. And that X could be anything. It could be the federal government, my body, the lawsuit that I'm in, the disease I'm experiencing, my relationship, whatever it is, my lack of education has no power over me. It doesn't mean that you deny it exists. You don't even deny that that is a problem, in essence, you does not deny this one particular thing, which is that it has power over you, because you are not at the effect of that. And you claim that you are not being controlled by that, which means that your mind is free, even though the circumstances may constrain you in some way. Your mind is free. X, whatever it is, has no power over me. That begins to take the firm form of the subconscious mind and begin to soften it, to loosen it up a little bit. And then saying an affirmation, you say the words, I am prosperous. Let's say it was money that you were worried about. I am prosperous. You affirm the truth. Now, at the level of the superconscious mind, you absolutely are prosperous. There is infinite supply. There are great ideas, and the energy to bring those ideas into fruition. I am prosperous is true at this level. At the subconscious mind, you may have been telling yourself for years that you do not have enough, that I'm inadequate, or that the world is against me, or that I can't succeed in whatever I'm doing. That it may be the story you've been told so much that the layer of the subconscious mind, which is just a real habit machine, the habit machine is saying, I don't have enough. But after having said the denial that whatever my problems were cannot control me, I am prosperous, you begin to drill down through that subconscious mind. You are like putting a well through this down to the source of the energy and the ideas, the superconscious mind. You put a source down that says, I am prosperous. You're drilling down toward the source, and by saying, I am prosperous. That's how you get there. It's specific. Now, the interesting thing about the Fillmores is that when you would do an affirmation, it wasn't absolutely specific, but it was pretty specific around a certain idea, like I am prosperous. Or the other one might be that I am healthy, or that I am free. It's fairly specific. So that doesn't let all of it come up through the subconscious mind. It's a drilling down through it. It's like putting a hole through the subconscious mind to allow the fountain of wisdom to come up through it. That is how they worked, the subconscious mind. Now, it also was important for them to have a philosophical framework to hold this in. And they believed that essentially this was a good explanation of the shape of the mind, with the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and superconscious mind. They thought that was basically a pretty good description of it. And so it made sense to them at the conscious level, what they were doing would have results by accessing the superconscious mind, having bored through the subconscious mind. But they also believed in meditation. And in meditation, they often wanted to get to this still place. The still place is an interesting thing. As we do meditation and we begin to quiet the mind, we essentially often slip past the barriers of the subconscious mind, slip right past that jungle of thoughts that's there, and you access this divine ideas, the superconscious mind. We access the peace that might be there, the quiet, but also the insight and the understanding. And so the Fillmores and many people since them have used meditation as a way of essentially thinning out the subconscious mind's blockage and letting more of that superconscious mind come up. In the affirmations and denials, you're drilling a direct hole down to it. In the form of meditation, you're beginning more randomly, I guess, or less directed. You're beginning to just have access to it. So you don't really know what's going to come up, essentially, but it begins to give you access to this higher state of awareness, which is also you. And so through this idea of affirmations and denials, and through the idea of meditation, you begin to access your higher states. In the creation of your life, the thoughts and ideas, the energy, and essentially the vibration of the superconscious mind is critical for having a wonderful, beautiful life. If you can access that, you have the potential to have a very blessed and really magical life. It's quite amazing. This is the pool of wealth that supplies everything. And so if you can do that, that's great. One other way of doing that is by visualization. To somehow in the process of visualization, when done right, and I'm not really sure how to describe that, but when in contact with the higher self, with the superconscious mind, as you visualize, you begin to form nature, your experience, at least your own perception around the vision. And as you visualize, you begin to essentially draw from this wealth of energy and ideas how it can be. And you begin to form, almost like a magician, you begin to form the world around you, which is just an amazing thing. I remember as a young person, I was probably about 30 at the time, maybe not so young to some people, but in my 30s, I started to visualize one day. I was out kayaking. I had been kayaking with the men I was with, and we were used to doing really hard and scary stuff. And I had accomplished many things doing that, but I lacked the feeling of happiness when I finished. It was just like I did it. And there's some happiness with that achievement aspect, but the fun of it I often missed. So this day we were looking down on this rapid that looked a bit scary to me. It looked like you could be slammed against the wall and actually injured by it. Or if you could hold to the line, even though you weren't very far from the wall, you would be safe, you would slip through, it would be a nice clean run. And so I visualized I was slipping past the danger and that I had accomplished this very difficult little maneuver. But the thing that I also visualized was being happy afterwards. I went, I'm going to be happy after this, and I'm going to be excited, etc. And sure enough, got up at the top of the rapid. I ran through it. It all came very quickly, but I went right where I should go. And then I pulled up on the beach just below the rapid, and I was happy. And that's when I realized the power of visualization. It wasn't that I could not only accomplish something, but I could receive the reward for accomplishing something. Quite amazing. Now that was all internal. Almost all of it was internal. Years later, I had taken the 4T class while I was at Unity Village trying to become a minister. And one of the things they taught us to do in that class was to say, I'm prosperous. Now, for, I would say about a decade, I had been feeling not prosperous. So this subconscious mind of mine had a lot of buildup of the habit of thinking, I'm not prosperous. I'm not prosperous. That I bet, I may not have said it consciously, but I sure felt it. I sure acted it out. I did all the things that you do. One of which was I was tight with my money. I was not very generous. And I was also experiencing just feeling behind the curve all the time. I started to say this phrase, I am prosperous. Now, I am not the best of students, but I really went for this one phrase. I started to say I'm prosperous 20 minutes while I was running in the morning. And then I would get in the car and I'd drive 20 minutes to class. I would say it 20 minutes in. And then on my way home, generally I would say it again. So let's say roughly about an hour a day, on many days, I would be saying, I am prosperous. And this went on for several months. And the bizarre thing was, I started once again to feel prosperous. I started to feel prosperous, just like I had felt happy when I finished this kayak. this little rapid that I was kayaking, when I started to feel prosperous. And the bizarre thing about it was I started to actually materially be prosperous. I had a lot of money come my way. Little things, big things, but all of it seemed as though the world was conspiring to tell me I'm prosperous, to agree. And I think what happens is that when you pierce through this subconscious and you get down to the superconscious mind, you're now not in just your mind, you're in the mind of God, the mind of the universe, however you say it. And when that begins to percolate up through into your consciousness and you begin to agree with it, then the whole of that has access to your way you feel, the way you think, but also it has access to everything else around it. And you begin to be the beneficiary of choosing your reality. You begin to have the world become shaped by what you have come to accept in yourself. So while I was in the ruled by the subconscious mind that I am not prosperous, that I'm behind the curve, that I'm poor, that etc., that's all I could see around me. It was true. And I think in many ways I passed up many good opportunities to have a different experience. But in addition to that, I think the formula of the world was such that it might have agreed with me. Declare a thing, and you make it so. You certainly make it so inside your own experience, like I did kayaking and like in being prosperous. But I think it also begins to influence that connective tissue that has held us all together, that holds the universe together. It begins to pluck the string of that idea which you are in agreement with. And it begins to be so. So you become like Merlin. You can point and poof, it becomes real. Because you have accessed the superconscious mind for your own use, in a sense, by agreeing with the best parts of that, which is, the superconscious mind is ready to give and able to give anything, any experience to you. And when I have been saying over these last weeks that you are not your body is almost like your subconscious mind. And your conscious mind is the one who's paying attention and feels the effect of it. But if you cease to identify with what's in your subconscious mind and begin to identify what's in your superconscious mind, now you are beginning to get the whole picture. That you can have faith in the superconscious mind. You may have to deny what's in your subconscious mind so that your conscious mind can have the experience that it would like to have. Everything from the superconscious mind is just fine as it is. It has no problems. It sees the world as a beautiful place, and everything is evolving for it, and it has time and energy in infinitum. But we, as the conscious mind, want to make the most of this experience. And we do not want to be ruled by our subconscious mind, but to tell the subconscious mind what habits to have, and to drill down through it to have the direct experience of the divine. We want that. And we also are willing to meditate so that things that we don't know we want yet, that we don't know what are the insights we need to have, we're willing to hear and receive. So we become both obedient to and directive with the superconscious mind. And when it hears us and echo it in our own awareness, it makes it so easy for it to be real for us. And without that, life is just a struggle. It is dissatisfaction, as the Buddha would say, that this subconscious mind is ruling the roost, and we live in a state of dissatisfaction or disharmony. As Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, why are you worried? Why are you living at the level of the subconscious mind? Doesn't your heavenly Father, know you need these things and will supply it to you if you will just trust, which is drilling down through it. Let your trust, your faith be an avenue through this subconscious mind to the source where everything is. Let your mind become directed so it can tap into that which is so powerful, that which knows, and that which knows how to create. Say yes to your highest ambitions. Say no to your worst thoughts. Trust and live as though you and the one presence were one. This is the beauty, the magic, and the grace that comes from God when you agree with it and when you affirm that it is so. Let's be magicians in our lives. Let's cease to be the one who is an effect of the world and the one who now says, I declare a thing and make it so. This could be a fun trip. Namaste.
Oh, it's magic, you know. Never believe it's not so. It's magic, you know. Never believe it's not so. I've never been awake. I've never seen a daybreak. Leaning on my pillow in the morning. Lazy day in bed. Music in my head. Crazy music playing in the morning light. Oh, it's magic, you know. Never believe it's not so. It's magic, oh, you know. Never believe it's not so. Woo. I love a sunny day. I dream of far away. Dreaming on my pillow in the morning. I've never been awake, never seen a daybreak. Leaning on my pillow in the morning light. Oh, it's magic, oh, you know. Never believe it's not so. It's magic, you know. Never believe it's not so. Oh, it's magic, you know. Never believe it's not so. It's magic, oh, you know. Never believe it's not so.
Today we had the opportunity of understanding the nature of our minds and the nature of divine mind, our true source. We need to remember that there's abundance of everything in divine mind, and we are extensions of it. There's an affirmation that I really love from Eric Butterworth that I remember from my business years back in the 90s. I would like to share it with you as a way to not only affirm it for you, but that we may affirm it for the world. And in truth, we are all connected personally to that source. So affirm with me, or just listen, open the heart and say, I bless you in the awareness that you are one with the personal flow of this universe, in which there is legitimate royal abundance for every living creature. And as we accept that, we know that giving is just fulfills the whole cycle. So at this very moment, I would like to say thank you for all your giving, all your doing, all your holding for a spiritual community, even from our homes. You are indeed making a difference. So at this very moment, we hold and affirm together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen.
I hope you've enjoyed this series on magic, the deeper magic of being in touch with the divine.
If you didn't get a chance to watch or listen to any others, no problem. Remember that we have all this online, either on SoundCloud or on YouTube, Unity of the Triangle, and you can listen on your own or watch on your own, but watch it.
So Anna, thank you for being
Magical, yeah.
so magical in my life. Thank you for being such a bright light for this series, but also for all that we've been doing online.
Thank you, Reverend Neusom. And if we would not be socially distanced, I will be hugging you at this moment, but just feel it, feel it.
I feel the love.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope you all feel the love too. We'll see you next time.
Yes. Blessings. Namaste. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.